Hello everyone! Well, after 2.5 years, Bluey's third season has finally concluded. And you know what that means. Time to finally talk about my top 10 episodes from Season 3. I'll keep this introduction short because we all know how big of a step up Season 3 was, introducing more unique stories, unique morals, and unique ways of crushing your soul. I can't believe I'm saying this, but of all the top lists I've made, this is the hardest one I've ever had to compile. With so many excellent episodes, whether if they were personal or just overall great, it was painful trying to narrow down to 10 for this video. So with that said, I must emphasize as always, this is my opinion. My top 10 episodes will most likely be far different from yours, and that's okay. We all have different opinions, even within the same show. But enough stalling, you've been waiting long enough for this video, so without further ado, let's get on to the list. Number 10.
You can't skid, right?
Yes, I can.
No, you can't. And Mum wants you.
Huh?
Made you looky, Daddy Chook. Ha ha! Suffer!
While reading bedtime stories, Bandit decides to switch it up and tells a story from his own youth, about when he lost his voice after teasing Stripe.
Do you want me to say your name? Okay. Bentendo.
This show knows how to take a simple premise and go a step further in its execution. After the surprise flashback of Baby Race, they go the extra mile and show a moment from Bandit's childhood. And, as I've said before, as a certified master storyteller, Bandit knows how to tell a good story. So his narration helps us get familiar with his family and the wild world of the 80s. Not only that, but Fairy Tale also presents its moral in a unique way, as we see Bandit learn a lesson that would help him become the kind and silly parent that we all know and love. The way Fairy Tale interprets bad karma and the golden rule are masterfully done, and not to mention a wonderful twist that may or may not have happened. A rather simplistic episode on the surface, but the fact that they made it about Bandit and also a flashback episode takes it to a whole new level, and makes it a close and worthy addition to my list.
You know what I call this? I call it a good start. How do I jinx it so none of you can talk?
Dad!
Number 9.
So, I'm gonna hide somewhere in the house. And when I shout ready,
Whoa,
come into
kids,
my
one at a
baby.
time.
And I'm gonna be hiding and I'm gonna surprise.
Bandit is, as always, caught in a dilemma, having to play 2 separate games with Bingo and Bluey. Bandit is now a babysitter on the run, as he tries to avoid Bluey's surprise attacks, while also caring for Bingo's children. Now, each season has this kind of episode. The one where a parent deals with the stress and chaos of raising a child, and by the end, they learn about why it's so great. But this takes it to an extreme, and my god, what a way to end a season. It's hilarious seeing Bandit, once again, try his best to balance the chaos of taking care of multiple kids, both figuratively and literally, when all he wants to do is watch TV. This episode also makes me wish I grew up in this decade, because I would have loved to have an arm cannon toy like that. Even with all that, what makes this episode top 10 worthy is how they turn up the emotional dial. Not only do they sneak in subtle metaphors to the experiences of having a child, as well as having a child with a disability, but the moment where Bandit indirectly explains to Bluey the importance of family as a whole is guaranteed to warm your heart. Not to mention having one of the best endings in the show's history. From the game Bandit plays, to the ending, to even the fact that this episode came out of the blue, surprise is quite a surprise indeed.
All right, I'm coming! Hello?
Huh? Uh-oh.
Number 8. As a rainstorm hits Brisbane, Bluey decides to have a little fun when she comes across a runoff, by trying to create a dam with various items, much to the dismay of Chili. My favorite types of Bluey episodes are the ones that try to experiment with something new, whether it be a different character in the spotlight or a change in style from what we're familiar with. With Rain, much like Fairy Tale, it really shows how Bluey is able to take a simple premise and make it so heartfelt and beautiful. Both Bluey and Chili's goals, while clashing against one another, makes us feel for the both of them. We want to see Bluey succeed in making her dam, while also understanding the annoyance of Bluey leaving a mess when she enters the house. And of all things, the music steals the spotlight here. With next to no dialogue, the upbeat and beautiful music adds so much to this episode. Again, it's just Bluey playing in the rain, but all these components make it stand out in a season full of stellar episodes. A simple premise, beautiful music, and stunning visuals. 3 ingredients that Rain masters at melding together. Number 7.
I can make it go this way. Wow! And this way. And wow! Look at it!
Bingo is sad that Chili doesn't want to play with her, so Bluey teaches her a way to get the parents to play with her, by using magic. But when the kids start messing around with magic, Chili has to fight back, while teaching Bingo an important lesson. I know I went in depth with this episode in my underrated Bluey episodes video, and I still stick by that here. I adore how unique this episode is, from the plot, to the music, to its message. For starters, it's always a blast whenever the family plays along with an imaginary concept. Most of the time. Accompanied by the epic music, you can't help but get invested in the story. But of all the things contained in this episode, what sticks out most with me is the moral, telling kids the right and wrong times for parents to play with them. Not only do I appreciate what it's trying to tell, but also the way they convey it. Seeing Chili and Bluey battle each other with magic as well as their words makes for one of the most interesting conflicts in the show. And while there is a good guy and a bad guy, I believe both are justified in their feelings, which is what makes the conflict so intriguing.
Magic should be used for goodliness.
I was using it for goodliness. Bingo is sad because you didn't play with her. Now she's happy.
No!
An episode that really stuck with me, and one that I wished was talked about more. You could almost say it's like a curse. On to number 6.
Okay. No more cheekiness.
Thank you.
Starting tomorrow.
Number 6.
You'll never get Rusty out.
I think I can handle it.
Yeah, Rusty!
4 bits!
See?
During a birthday party, a large game of cricket is held. When Rusty steps up to play, the grown-ups try to get him out, but they come to realize that Rusty has had a lot more experience than they think. You know it's gonna be a good episode when it stars one of the biggest fan-favorite characters. Rusty, throughout the show, has been seen as one of the kindest characters, so it's great to finally have the spotlight shine on him for once, and get some development with his character. Seeing his home life and how he interacts with his family We truly see what a kind soul Rusty is. This is such a great story about perseverance and how practice truly makes perfect. How can one not feel inspired seeing Rusty's journey into the sport of cricket and seeing him outsmart the grown-ups? Accompanied by Bandit's master storytelling skills, it's no wonder this was the top-picked episode of Bluey Fest. The nicest kid in Brisbane finally gets his own proper episode, and it figuratively and literally knocks it out of the park.
Oh, out you go, Bingo. Well done.
Number 5.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
Hey, Brandy. Hi, Chili. It's good to see you. Yeah, you too.
Aunt Brandy finally comes to visit after a long time away, but when she gifts the girls animal onesies, Bingo takes her role a little too seriously, as the family now has to hide from Cheetah Bingo. Bluey knows how to balance humor and drama well, but Onesies manages to be both one of the funniest and saddest episodes in the whole series. Let's start with the humor first. Who knew Bingo in a cheetah onesie could be so threatening? While it's just a game, there is a level of suspense that keeps your attention and puts you on the edge of your seat, which makes it even more humorous than it should be.
Did you get it? The onesie?
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Also, the bizarreness and insanity of it all is a great way for Brandy to be reintroduced into the family. Speaking of Brandy, now we get to the drama, because it all revolves around her. We were given a small story about her and Chili's strained relationship in Bluey's big play. Now, with her coming back, we know that there's some scars that need to be healed. Which leads us to the moral, which, oh boy, you know it's a heavy subject when Chili has to take a moment to process her words before explaining to Bluey. The way this episode tries to explain Brandy's inability to have a child is told in the most kid-friendly way possible, and I have to really commend the writers for pulling it off. I appreciate its subtle vagueness, so to speak. Top it off with some hilarious cartoony visuals, and you've got one standout episode in a season full of standout episodes. A reunion that turns into a day of terror and drama, and a worthy contender for my top 5 episodes.
You've grown so much. Bluey, you look just like your father.
Oh, what?
Number 4.
What does perfect mean? I know. It means really, 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 really good.
As Father's Day is approaching, Bluey tries to make the perfect card for Bandit, but struggles trying to achieve perfection, both for him and for another reason. Literally, from the very first episode, Season 3 was off to an amazing start. While the show knows how to relate to kids, it also knows how to relate to adults. Because I bet we've all had moments where we tried to make something perfect without realizing what perfection truly means. I can't think of a better way for Bluey to handle this kind of message. The plot of Bluey trying to achieve perfection is well-paced, and we feel for her when she struggles with her self-confidence, which is why the moral works so well here, that perfection comes from not just what you make, but the meaning behind it. On top of that, all the flashbacks of Bandit playing with Bluey are a delight to see, and it really adds to how she looks up to him. This episode just always makes me smile by the end, and shows how imperfection can still be perfection within itself. From the pacing to the moral to all the humorous and heartfelt moments, this episode is just perfect.
It's Dad! I'll come back later.
Number 3.
A motorbike? I thought this was an old-timey Elfie story.
The family decides to draw a dragon story, where the family must venture through forests and valleys to take down a dragon and find treasure. Remember what I said during my number 8 spot? My favorite types of Bluey episodes are the ones that try to experiment with something new. Well, the same applies with this episode. As a huge fan of Escape, this, once again, takes it to a whole new level by not showing just one different art style, but 4 at the same time. I adore the amount of detail that went into this episode, from the drawing styles of each character to even the tools they used to draw. It truly helps each healer stand out and shows just where everyone is with their artistic skills. Getting to the plot, I love the simplified Dungeons & Dragons feel of the game, from the random NPCs that are introduced to the bizarre twists and turns that occur throughout the journey.
Well, that's good. Humpty Dumpty is friendly.
No, he isn't.
But on top of all that, just like with Cricket, it's also a well-told story about perseverance. We understand Bluey and Bandit's embarrassment about not drawing well, but not only does it show the right and wrong way to motivate someone, but it also shows how you're never too young to learn again. It just goes to show why I enjoy their family dynamic so much. They learn from each other about what works and what doesn't, and they all evolve together. This episode never fails to make me laugh, even with how surprisingly heartbreaking the ending is. An episode that truly stands out, both visually and narratively.
Talking tree? We just want to know where the dragon is.
He's in the toilet. Oh, oh, oh.
Number 2.
All right, done. Here you go, Bingo. Peanut butter and banana.
Bandit makes a comment about how easy things would be if the girls were the same, which inspires Bluey to paint Bingo and have her act as an exact clone of herself, with hilarious results.
I love it.
From the get-go, this is such a chaotic idea for an episode, but Bluey knows how to convey it in a meaningful way. With the roles reversed, we truly get to see the differences between their personality and character, especially the flaws of the titular Bluey, which is something I have to applaud the show for, as most shows aimed at this demographic don't really do that. It's also adorable seeing how much fun they're having playing as one another.
Why do we have to do this? It's hot.
While it is funny seeing 2 Blueys annoying their parents, it does get rather sad as the parents openly express their satisfaction with Bingo over Bluey. It's kinda messed up the more you think about it, but it's here that truly sells this episode for me. Bingo, instead of bragging about being the better sibling, handles Bluey's sadness in such a mature way. She supports her big sister and even shows off her own flaws to make Bluey feel better. Not saying Bingo would brag about it to her face, but it's a shining example of why Bingo is still my favorite character. Not to mention the bizarre way this episode concludes. Along with being one of the funniest and weirdest in the series, Mini Bluey is a humorously heartfelt episode that's remained in my top 3 ever since my first viewing of it.
Bingo, I've got an idea. Okay.
Wait, what?
Why do you keep setting them up?
Before we get to number 1, I'd like to bring up a few honorable mentions. But first, let us take a moment to mourn those that didn't make my list. Okay, let's go. Unicorse. What an introduction to such a hilariously memorable character. Aside from how hysterical this episode gets, it's sweet seeing Bluey and Chili learn a lesson together as they both try to tame the beast that is Unicorse.
Unicorse, what's your favorite food?
Children.
Driving. Speaking of Bluey and Chili together, here's one of the best in that category. What really gets to me about this episode is how the two work off each other. Seeing them trying to help each other out really warms my heart, and watching the game evolve from a simple drive to a high-speed getaway always keeps my eyes glued to the screen.
Where's the shop? Outside the car park. You've got 3 minutes. Can I park in the wheelchair spot? No!
Facey Talk, the episode that changes Muffin's character forever. As the usually spoiled child who yells and gets her way, she finally gets her comeuppance. What for exactly? Watch the episode to find out. It's quite the hilarious ride.
Right, I'm setting a timer on my phone. When it goes off, it's Sox's turn, okay, Muffy?
Puh.
I'll take that as a yes.
Curry Quest. To be honest, I didn't love this episode after the first viewing, but it's made quite a climb up my list over the years, which I must commend for that, even if it's not in my top 10. Its take on the hero's journey is so simple, yet told in such an engaging way. And any episode starring Bingo and Bandit is guaranteed to be amazing. Most of the time.
I'm glad you're here, Bingo. I'm on the face painting stall at the school fair, so I need to practice. I'm not very good, I'm afraid.
Hey, Bingo!
And finally,
Ragdoll!
Finally, Bandit teaches a lesson, and it actually works. It's adorable as always seeing the girls work together, as well as the evolution of their problem-solving skills. With a humorous premise and an awesome cameo from Wendy, Ragdoll would easily make my list if the competition wasn't as strong as it is.
This is hard work!
A bit of hard work never hurt anyone. Oh, okay, that actually did hurt.
Now, I know what you're thinking. What could possibly be number 1? What could be better than rain, cricket, even onesies? Well, let me just hide behind my couch first. Okay, now I'm ready. Number 1.
You going to get started on the birthday card?
I already made one at Kindy.
Oh, that's lovely.
I want to help you make the omelette.
Oh, that's lovely.
Let me get the fire extinguisher. On Bandit's birthday, Chili prepares to make him an omelet, but when Bingo wants to help, things get messy as Chili guides Bingo in making her first omelet.
Grab a silver bowl from the cupboard.
Okay. Is this one okay?
Once again, another Bingo-focused episode, and once again, an episode that hits all the right chords for me. For starters, this is a premise that I can really relate to, as I can remember when I was trying to make my first omelet. Sure, it wasn't as messy as portrayed here, but I know how it feels to be in Bingo's shoes. Not only to learn something new, but to also find ways to be helpful. While hilarious at first, it does feel satisfying seeing Bingo learn from her various mistakes and improve with each attempt. Along with that, not only does Bingo go through her own journey, but so does Chili as the mentor. We feel for her wanting to reach the main goal of serving Bandit's omelet efficiently, but I love how she's the one that learns the moral, how the only way for someone to learn something is for them to actually do it. She herself learns how to guide Bingo the right way. While it's Bingo and Chili's journey that stands out the most, it's humorous seeing Bandit's patience get tested to the point of near insanity, as well as Bluey's attempts to keep him in bed. It never fails to make me smile, and always warms my heart when it reaches its satisfying conclusion. Sure, it's not as inspiring as Cricket, or as creative as Dragon, but Omelette really does get the best reaction out of me. Again, another very personal pick, but in a season full of phenomenal episodes, I'm confident in giving Omelette my pick as my favorite episode of Season 3.
Well, you can't make an omelette without breaking a few
We'll clean it up.
eggs.
I want to conclude this video by first saying thank you for your patience. I know Season 3 ended about 5 months ago, but I've had a lot of things going on in my life, and I hope that a late video is still better than no video at all, even if my picks were underwhelming to some of you. I do understand that my favorite Bluey episodes have always been weird choices, and not episodes that get tons of praise. But I think that's the beauty of this season and the show as a whole. With such an impressive catalog of episodes, not everyone is gonna put camping, or sleepy time, or cricket as their favorites. And that's all okay. Different episodes gravitate to different people in different ways, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. And to address the 28-minute elephant in the room, I know some of you were expecting to see the sign on here, but that would make the list way too obvious. I really wanted to give other episodes their moments to shine. Plus, I have a whole video reviewing the sign, if you want to hear my thoughts on it. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Also, feel free to comment down below your favorite episodes of Season 3. Consider subscribing for more top lists as well as other content, and I'll see you all in the next video.